For centuries, the story of the Vikings has been one of exploration, conquest, and courage. From the icy fjords of Scandinavia to the rugged coasts of Britain, Ireland, and Greenland, the Norse seafarers carved their legacy into the pages of history. But what if their greatest voyage, one that would change our understanding of global exploration, happened nearly 500 years before Columbus set sail? What if the Vikings reached the shores of North America, and perhaps even settled there, long before the Age of Discovery? This is the story of a forgotten journey, of clues scattered across landscapes and legends, of stone carvings, ancient sagas, and mysterious artifacts. This is the untold chronicle of the Vikings in America. Our story begins in the late 10th century, in the cold, windswept lands of Greenland. There, a bold explorer named Leif Erikson, son of the legendary Eric the Red, dreamed of finding new lands beyond the Western Sea. The sagas tell us of a voyage born from both curiosity and necessity. Harsh winters and dwindling resources drove the Norse settlers to look westward, toward the unknown. The Icelandic sagas, specifically the saga of the Greenlanders and the saga of Eric the Red, speak of Leif's journey to a mysterious land called Vinland, a place of mild weather, green forests, and abundant grapes. According to these accounts, Leif and his crew landed on the shores of what many historians now believe to be North America, possibly around the year 1000 AD. For centuries, scholars dismissed these tales as myth. But then, in 1960, everything changed. In the far north of Newfoundland, Canada, archaeologists Helga and Stein Ingstad made a groundbreaking discovery at a site known as Eland's Auxiliary Meadows. There, beneath layers of turf and soil, they uncovered unmistakable remains of Norse buildings, longhouses constructed in the distinctive Viking style, complete with iron nails, tools, and even a spindle wheel used for weaving. Radiocarbon dating confirmed the site was nearly 1,000 years old. The evidence was undeniable. Vikings had indeed reached North America centuries before Columbus. But Eland's Auxiliary Meadows raised more questions than it answered. Was this a permanent settlement or merely a temporary outpost? Were there other Viking sites scattered along the coastlines of North America, yet to be discovered? Some researchers believe that Eland's Auxiliary Meadows served as a base camp, a gateway for further exploration southward into lands richer and more hospitable. The sagas mention Markland, meaning forest land, believed to be Labrador, and Vinland, possibly the lush coasts of Newfoundland or even as far south as New England. As historians and archaeologists searched for clues, other pieces of evidence began to emerge, each one more mysterious than the last. One of the most debated is the Kensington Runestone, discovered in Minnesota in 1898. The stone bears runic inscriptions that some claim were carved by Scandinavian explorers in the 14th century, decades before Columbus. The text tells of an expedition of Norsemen who traveled deep into the American interior, encountering tragedy and conflict along the way. Critics argue the runestone is a 19th century forgery, created by Scandinavian immigrants to honor their heritage. Yet, some experts point to linguistic and geological analyses suggesting it could be authentic. If genuine, it would rewrite history, proving Viking presence far inland. Beyond the runestone, there are other tantalizing clues. The Heavener runestone in Oklahoma, the Spirit Pond stones in Maine, and even Norse-style artifacts found in places like Baffin Island and the Great Lakes region. Each discovery fuels new theories and controversy. Were these traces left by actual Norse explorers, or are they the remnants of later cultural contact, perhaps through trade with indigenous peoples who encountered Norse traders in Greenland? The Norse sagas, while legendary, may hold more truth than once believed. They describe encounters between Vikings and the Skraelings, the native peoples of the New World. The word Skraeling is often thought to refer to the ancestors of the Inuit or other indigenous groups in North America. These encounters were not always peaceful. Some accounts speak of trade, others of conflict, and eventually of Norse retreat. The sagas suggest that despite the rich lands, constant tension and danger from local inhabitants made long-term settlement impossible. Modern genetic studies have added another layer to the mystery. In recent years, DNA researchers discovered traces of Native American genetic markers in Icelandic populations, markers that date back roughly 1,000 years. Could this indicate that Norse explorers brought back individuals from Vinland to Greenland or Iceland? If so, this would be the earliest known contact between the Old World and the New. Yet, the evidence remains fragmentary. For every artifact that seems to confirm Viking presence, skeptics point to the lack of widespread remains or written records. The Viking expansion, after all, was not an organized empire. It was a network of independent voyages driven by explorers, traders, and adventurers. Their records were oral, not written in detailed maps or logs. As time passed, their journeys faded into legend. In recent decades, new technologies have reignited the search for Viking America. Satellite imagery, drone surveys, and ground-penetrating radar have revealed possible Norse-style structures beneath the soil in parts of Newfoundland and Labrador. One site, known as Point Rosie, gained worldwide attention when researchers detected what appeared to be remnants of a Viking ironworking hearth. Although later studies questioned the find, the possibility remains that other undiscovered Norse sites lie waiting beneath the earth, hidden by time and wilderness. Meanwhile, the stories of indigenous peoples offer a different perspective, one often overlooked in the retelling of European exploration. Some native oral traditions speak of encounters with pale-skinned visitors arriving from the sea long before Columbus. These stories, passed down for generations, describe ships with dragon-headed prows and men in metal armor. Could these be echoes of Viking contact, preserved in memory long after the Norse had gone? The idea of Vikings in America is more than a tale of exploration. It is a reminder of humanity's unending curiosity, our drive to push beyond horizons, and the way history can blur the lines between myth and fact. From the windswept shores of Iceland to the forests of Newfoundland, from the carved runestones of Minnesota to the DNA strands in modern Icelanders, the evidence paints a picture of a world more interconnected than we ever imagined. Perhaps the Vikings never fully colonized America. Perhaps their journeys were fleeting, their settlement short-lived. But even a single voyage across the Atlantic, over a millennium ago, reshapes our understanding of human courage and discovery. They were not just raiders or warriors. They were navigators, builders, and dreamers. Men and women who gazed across the endless sea and dared to ask, what lies beyond? As the sun sets over the North Atlantic, we are left with a haunting image. A Viking longship cutting through the waves, its sail catching the cold wind, heading westward toward a new world. Whether their legacy is buried under centuries of soil or whispered in the sagas of old, one thing is certain: the Vikings reached America. And though time may have forgotten their footsteps, the evidence of their forgotten journey continues to call out across history, inviting us to rediscover the truth. This is not just a story of exploration, it is the story of human ambition, of courage in the face of the unknown, and of how legends can guide us back to history's hidden chapters. The Vikings in America remind us that discovery is not just about finding new lands, but about remembering the journeys that shape the world we live in today.